Hi guys, and for the last time we are back with Transformers Battlegrounds. My name's DN Neo, and this, as I kind of mentioned and alluded to, I'm going to start trying to do reviews for the games that I play. This is my kind of, I think this is actually my second or third attempt at game reviews. I just want to make it clear, this is from a gamer's point of view. I don't care about stats, this is how the game made me feel, whether I think that you guys are going to have fun with the game. And yeah, I just wanted to do a bit of an intro into this video. Let me know what you guys liked, what you didn't like, keeping in mind what I've just said. And yeah, I'm really happy I did this game, and yeah, I can't wait to get on to the next project. So without further ado, Future Neo, take it away. Okay guys, so let's get into this review. The first thing I want to explain is I hadn't played this game in a while, like a very, very long time. And even though these are just like basically side missions, it felt really good to play the game again. And after so long, not getting stuck, not getting confused, I feel like that's a plus for the game. There are so many games, and because there is so many games out there now, that so many games I feel like I have to play. I am forced to play them over and over and over again. You know, I can't play another game, otherwise I'm going to lose what I'm doing. And forget about the game and like little tricks that I would have picked up on. So it felt really good to just kind of do the game and not have that feeling. A very small thing maybe, but it still felt really good, and I think that's what I'm going to do these sort of reviews on. Not necessarily prices or any of that sort of thing, but just, okay, how did this game make me feel? Did I want to play it? Did I enjoy playing it? I'm going to be taking these reviews from a kind of gameplay experience and what's actually making me feel good, and what am I having fun playing, and hopefully that will give you guys more to kind of go off as a gamer. And there may be a few other times where that switches up, but mainly I think this was a really good experience with this game. So let's actually go into the game itself. The missions. I feel like the missions were really good. There was a good, healthy selection of missions. There was a good selection of getting your feet wet at the beginning, and the game really trying to explain stuff and making it easy for new time players, turn-based players, and I'll get into that quite a lot in this video because I feel like that's really important, and I'll get into that. But getting into this game is super easy. I understand it's for kids, I understand that, but here's the thing. I feel like even kids games, like for example the Lego games, especially the newer ones, there's so much complexity in there. Like, 1 minute I'm thinking like a kid while I'm playing it, and I'm enjoying it, and you know, then I'll get stuck, and it'll be such a simple thing, and because I'm thinking as a gamer rather than a kid, and maybe that's a bad thing on my point, but I feel like there is definitely that thing with this game of they got that balance really right, really correct. I felt like a gamer. I didn't feel too insulted while playing the game of insulting my intelligence as a gamer of, you know, this is what you've got to do, and this is how you move, and you know, like the first 3 missions is just constantly the same thing. It was, no, here's your opening mission, here's the basics of the game. Second mission, you know, here's the next thing to learn, adding more characters slowly but steadily, and giving you time to then find your own way of how to then play those characters. I felt like that was a really smart move, and I don't know if this game didn't sell well like day one release, but I really hope that games kind of take that smart approach more, honestly, if that makes sense. Oops, sorry guys. But I really feel like that's a really smart approach with games. Give the gamer time to explore. Give them the basics straight away, which is exactly what this game does, and then let them explore it. Give them time. And I'm not saying like 50 missions and then suddenly like the for no reason like the difficulty ramps up. And I felt like another thing, this game does that really, really well, like scarily well. The only other thing I would say, because I'm going to be doing pros and cons, I'm not just going to like suck up to the game. You guys probably know me well enough. I'm not going to probably do that with any game, probably. But with this game, I felt like the art style, a few of the conversations were kind of cringy and really kiddie-vied. But again, I understand the game is for kids. I do understand that, and I feel like there was a bit of adult sense of humour there. And as a 90s kid, I feel like that was the cartoons with like Disney and stuff, or just cartoons. But if you take the Disney stuff, there's lots of adult jokes in there, but the kids don't know what's going on, so it's still safe, and it's an enjoyable experience for everyone. And I feel like that is the massive link and selling point of this game. Of, as a kid you can play this, and as an adult, if you've got kids around the house, you know you're safe. And you know that if anything that possibly as a parent that you wouldn't want your kids to hear, they're not necessarily going to then be able to pick up on it. And I feel like that's a really important point. So great balance, great blend, top marks to them for that. I just feel like the dialogue's quite cringy sometimes. And it can be a little but I feel the way they executed it, very, very important, and kudos to them for doing that. Honestly, top marks. So the next thing I want to talk about, the kind of upgrade section, the kind of upgrade system, and the kind of way that this game implements it. So, the upgrade system, I feel, is one of the, in concept, one of the best I've seen. Let me explain. So, normally with an upgrade system, you're locked out of everything. Right, you've got to do 1 to get to 2, to then get to 10, etc, etc. With this, as long as you've got the move unlocked, and I suppose that's kind of the blockage system in this game, but the actual upgrades, it's, okay, you can upgrade anything, and for me, as a player, it means I can personalize of the options I have, but I can personalize my experience a bit more. I can feel like I'm actually in control of my teams, and because of that, I feel like each team will, or each player's teams will feel unique. and everyone will have their favourites, and everyone, you know, it could be that once they've got their team locked and loaded, once you've unlocked everyone, that's it, they'll just stick with that team. And fair enough, maybe that's a con of this system, the fact that they won't go out of the way to explore the other Autobots, specifically with the story mode. But because I was doing this content-wise, I feel like, not forced, but I wanted to show you guys more of this game, more of the characters, etc, etc. And I feel like because of that, I got a, I don't want to say better experience, but I definitely feel like I kind of maximized my experience. And that's another thing. I feel like this is a really good game for the way you get those level up points. Of you essentially, if you do all the missions one time, then you have to up the difficulty. But there's no stress if you don't want to, because you can put this game on easy, you can put this game on medium, and again, because this game is very chilled out, I didn't feel any pressure. There is plenty of games that I load up where I'm like, well, I know I want to put it on easy, but actually I'm going to get judged and all that, and I don't feel like this game is kind of built around that. And again, as a gamer, that makes me happy when games don't almost cleverly dictate the way the pace of the game's going to be played. And I feel like that's something that needs to be cut out a little bit. But yeah, absolute great time. You guys hopefully saw in the episodes of, you know, the level up system. Every now and then I try a harder difficulty once I actually clocked on, which I apologise about that little mess up. Yeah, so that was really cool. The next thing I want to explain, and I think this is kind of the down point of this game, the story. And I think if they do a second one, which I don't think they will, I think the game's been out too long now, but if they do, I wasn't really engaged with the story, in the sense of, yes, I cared about my Transformers when I was battling, and I didn't want them to die, even though on some difficulties it doesn't matter anyway, but in the story, and purely on the story, I didn't care. I didn't really feel that tug, that push, that pull in the story. And that's a bit of a shame, but that's a really, really big letdown. But the game mechanics and the way it worked was good enough for me to want to keep playing and enjoy myself playing. And I think that's a really critical thing here of, you know, not necessarily just as a gamer, but now just as a content creator. And I'm not going to go too much onto this, but because this is just a review of the game. But as a content creator, sometimes you can feel locked into a game because you don't want to stop midway through, even though I have quite a few times, but you don't want to feel locked into a game. So yes, in my opinion, the story doesn't hook me, but there's enough gameplay there, and enjoyable gameplay, where I wanted to play. I did not feel locked in. And I feel like that's really quite important for quite a few points that I made above. The next thing I want to go into is the fact that this game, a turn-based game, strategy, well, not necessarily strategy, but just purely turn-based games. Yes, there's quote-unquote strategy in this. Especially with some of the mission types. And the mission types, by the way, the flexibility and the changing them and keeping the player guessing what mission's coming up the first time you're playing it, absolutely amazing. Commend them on that. But I feel like turn-based games, sometimes they're made complicated just because they are a turn-based game, and I feel like the game can get too cluttered too fast and there's too much to do. And I feel like this game made it simple, that's not an insult, but simple, but yet enough in there where, as I've said before, as the player, I feel like I am having control, and I feel like I can dictate some of the game, and I feel like as a gamer, that is a rare art that is vanishing more and more. It's more like a movie. I don't really feel any control, and I'm just being led by the hand by the game. Which I understand for story-based games that's quite important, but for games like this, I just feel like the game's dictating everything and the speed of the game, and that's not nice. That's really not nice feeling as a gamer. You know, I've paid my money with a game, or I've decided to then play the game, and I feel like that needs to be respected a bit more, not much, but a little bit more. I can understand that if they have a very clear vision for a game, and I'm not saying that every game, but I do feel like more games like this would make me happy, and it would make me feel back to my early gaming days of, look, you know, I feel like I'm playing the game. I feel like I'm not just in the system as a gamer, and that feels really special nowadays. It shouldn't, in my opinion, but unfortunately, that's how I usually feel. I'm just a sheep in the machine, and I'm just to give them money. But anyway, that's a whole other thing. I don't necessarily want to get into that. But this game, great experience for that. The next thing I want to explain, where I think this game did a few clever things which was unique. Usually, in turn-based games, if you don't spend all your options, if you don't move, if you don't shoot, if you don't spend all your action points, then that usually means they're gone. You don't get any advantage, nor do you get any disadvantage. But you don't get any advantage. I'm pretty sure the Gear of War Tactics game, if I'm saying that name right, and that's a game I want to get at some point. But I believe this game and the Gears of War, I hope I'm saying that name right, Gears of War Tactics. But I feel like they do a really smart thing where if you don't spend all the action points, you're actually almost rewarded. And to me, that's, again, it's that kind of player thing of letting us dictate, letting us choose. This game does it on a very simple basis, I would say, but it still felt really, really good as a player, as a gamer, to have that option. And I didn't feel strict, I didn't feel contained, I didn't feel like my options and what I do in the game actually doesn't matter. And to me, those are massive things, especially nowadays. Top marks to them for that. And again, is this a perfect game? No. Is it a game where the graphics or the story, you know, really impresses me? No, let's be honest. But I think it is a smart game and does a lot of things right. A lot of small things right. And because they've added it up with a lot of small things, it feels like a really, really good, unique experience. And for that, I really take my hat off. Another thing is, and kind of XCOM's done this, kind of, but this game essentially explicitly kind of shows you and tells you, hey, you're being lifted up by this bot that can fly, so you're actually showing the battlefield. And keeping that in mind as I was playing the game, I actually kind of felt like, oh, I was given the orders and I'm seeing the battleground and I'm seeing the threats, and I felt like, again, a really small thing. I will say to that, I probably think Transformers is the wrong game for that, because let's be honest, Transformers, they're gonna know more about battle, they're gonna know more about war, and I just feel like a kid giving them instructions didn't make much sense to me. But the idea and what they brought, and the fact that they didn't overcomplicate it, they didn't try and over-expand on it or constantly remind you of it. Well, some of the dialogue was a bit like that of, oh, okay, human, you now decide, and fair enough, there was a bit of that, but I mean, there wasn't, oh, what do you want to do? You're moving the you know, there wasn't that. It was all kind of in-house, in-universe. And I like that. I like that a lot, to be honest. It really makes me happy when games do that. I think that was all my points. Is this the best game ever? No. There's a lot of things which need to tighten up on this game, but the little things added up, I feel, is really, really important, and I feel like they did some really smart choices, and as a gamer, that makes me feel like I've been thought about, that makes me feel like I am important, and that makes me really happy. So yeah, top marks for this game. Again, is it perfect? Is it going to win any awards? No, or if it did, then wow, amazing, guys, absolutely amazing, but I doubt it did. But the ideas in this game, I'd love to see more game companies doing that, taking the risk, and, you know, trying to do what's best for a player, not for ratings, not for sales. And again, I felt really valued, and I felt really, really important. So thank you, Transformers Battlegrounds. Guys, I'm going to let you watch the rest of this gameplay. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed my walkthrough of Transformers Battlegrounds and review. Let me know if you like this. I didn't take any notes, I just kind of dived into this. Let me know if you want less all over the place, or if you like that and it seems more human and more genuine. Please do let me know. I'm going to get the hell out of here. Enjoy the rest of this gameplay, guys, and yeah, we're going to be starting a brand new game as soon as I can. Bye bye for now.
Very well. Plating weakened. Defense is stable. Yeah! Got him!
Affirmative.
Captured! Armor repaired! Bleeding fried! Acknowledged. Plating repaired. Affirmative. Plating restored.
No problem. Plating restored. That's one con down.
Okay. Got it.
Acknowledged. Defense is compromised.
Sure. Plating's down.
Taking point. Solid.
On it. Defense is stable.
Armor's cracked.
Advancing. Positron armor restored.
On it. Plating restored. Yeah!
Okay. Plating restored. Okay. What the scrud? Armor's down.
Still vulnerable. Acknowledged. Defeated. Understood. Positron armor restored.
On it. Plating compromised!
Should hold.
Secured! Plating restored.
Positron armor restored.
Armor's out. Plating's fried.
Should hold.
Megatron!
She's down. Roger that. Acknowledged. Plating repaired.
Acknowledged. Got it.
Sure. Safe.
Autobots, engage! Moving. Secure.
On it. Got it. Right. Should hold.
Hi. Roar. Very well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Taking point. Raha. Roar.
Okay. Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Ruh. Yeah. Rah.
Right.
Taking point. Stable.
On it. Guys, almost there. Switching. I see the target. Move out. Got it.
Muck. Roar. Huh.
Moving up.
Roar.
Plating's shot. Moving up. Got it.
Yeah. Roar. Roar.
Should hold.
Yeah.
On it. Right.
Yard.
Plating's shot. Guys, almost there. Okay. Got one.